second-hand cars in Uganda. So the one that I'm specifically talking about today, if I can define the second-hand, I mean used in Uganda. I'm talking about those who are buying from previously used in the country. That means the cars that have already driven on the road in Uganda. So these are the ones that I'm talking about. Now I'm giving tips from my perspective. I'm not a mechanic, but I do know that there are some tips that some people have to look out when they're buying cars that have been used on Ugandan roads, and it's probably their first car or the second, or they just want to upgrade or something. One is, I do know you're looking at country of manufacture. Country of manufacture means where the car was manufactured from. Now that tip I'm bringing it out because from what I think is many cars that are made in for example Japan usually have a lot of people using it already in Uganda, so that also triggers down to spare parts and availability of spare parts. So you find that I would think of going Japanese, right? I go Japanese, and by Japanese I'm talking Toyota, I'm talking Mitsubishi, I'm talking Nissan, I'm talking Isuzu, Suzuki. Just mention those Japanese cars. You will find that they're usually associated with having spare parts that are accessible. But again, it doesn't mean that those from other parts of the world doesn't mean that they don't have spare parts, because things have changed this now. Dynamics have changed. People can even buy spare parts online and they're able to deliver them. So times have changed. It's not like way back when that you can't find a spare part and importing becomes so hard. So these days there's so many things have changed. Shipments have become much more easier. Systems have been cleared very well in terms of taxation. You can just buy your item online and bring them here. For as long as you pay for the tax, your spare part is already accessible. So that means even those who are going US, going British, going you name it, Korea and all these other countries, they really can get themselves good cars. Okay, so that is my tip on country of manufacture. Type of car. Look, you might be wondering, what type can I choose? So what I would actually comment about type of car, I look at our Ugandan roads and I go for something that has a good clearance above the ground, right? So you look at the cars that have clearance above the ground. Maybe something that is high enough. I could just put it right there, what I think could be good for Ugandan roads, because we still have a lot of potholes that we're going to have to navigate on a daily basis, especially within Kampala. So just know that clearance above the ground can be good for you. That means the space that when you hit a pothole, that gap between the car and the under part of your car, you have some clearance. When it's too low, you'll have so much grr, grr, whenever you're passing places that are really bad. Okay, so leave that clearance above the ground out. That's already sorted. Then I would look at the consumption as well. Now this is a tricky part because it will depend on your pocket and what you can afford as an individual in terms of fuel consumption, in terms of the engine size of your car, which is the cc. For example, I usually go for something 1800 cc and 2000 cc, between that size. That's why I go for. And why I usually go for that is because it also somehow, remember I'm not a mechanic, but I know that it somehow relates to the comfortability of the car. Sometimes a bigger engine just makes the car move much easier, and handling is much easier. I have found that when you're driving a smaller car with very low cc, for example 1.3 or 1300 cc, 1.3 liters, okay, equals to 1300 cc, or 1.5 1500 cc, like that. Those usually, I just find them a little bit light. You hit everything, you feel everything, every acceleration, you feel it. You just feel at the end of the day you are tired, even if you're doing a round town movement. Okay, so engine size is important to me, and sometimes I believe someone else would also agree if you have seen or experienced the same. So then maybe if you want to be economical, you don't just go you can just maximize the stop at 2000cc. Most cars around 2000cc are good enough, powerful enough, and they're also comfortable enough. So you'll see those brands that are around that with that kind of consumption range, right? From where do you buy the cars? Now remember, these cars have already been driven on Ugandan roads. That means you have two options. Either you will buy from an owner, that somebody directly selling their cars, or you will go to car dealers around Kampala town. There's so many dealerships around. So personally, I would think buying from owners would give you a much better deal. Why? Because they have a set price in their mind, and also they are willing to bargain with you, and you're able to get a deal that can be very good when you buy directly from an owner. Challenge is, it's difficult to get the real owners, but when you apply certain ways of looking for the owners, you might find a car that is being sold by directly from an owner. Then you're able to know exactly the condition of the car, what inspired the owner to sell it. Also ask reasons why they're selling the cars, so that you can judge by yourself. You can tell, by an owner telling you why they're selling. They may lie, they may tell the truth, but from owners, at least, your bet is better in terms of rate, because they're not going to sell much higher than what they really want. And they all usually, most times, the owners have a specific need that they want to solve and get out of the way. So you're able to negotiate and get a good deal from an owner. I'm not saying you can't get a good deal from a dealership, because also, if you notice that the dealerships, they are able to negotiate or squeeze the owners and get a much lower rate, because they're usually paying owners cash, and so they get a much lower rate from the owners by giving them cash. And then when you come, they mark up. Of course, it's a business, they have to mark up, but I'm just saying, if you get an owner, you will get a much better deal. Year of manufacture of the car as well, it is critical, so you know how long the car has been on the road, okay, vis-a-vis the price that you're going to negotiate. This is critical. In Uganda, we look at number plates as well, but again, if you don't need to stress so much on the number plate, although if it's too old, again, you know that it has been on the road for quite a while. Let's look at the condition of the car. So what are you going to look at when you're checking on the conditions of the car? Right, first thing, you pop the hood, or you open the bonnet. Open it. That's where you're going to check. And when you open the bonnet, what are you going to check for? What you're checking for, usually you find that the engine and the gearbox. Do not underestimate a gearbox in the car. When an engine has an issue, you can fix it, and okay, even a gearbox you can fix it, but when the gearbox has an issue, you will have to spend a lot more money than even the engine. Look out for leaks and cracks and things that may indicate that this gearbox has a fault. Some of these things you can just see them by looking, okay? And then also check the engine around the top. Are there any leakages around where there has been on the top of the gasket? What not the gasket, the engine head. There's usually the engine head and the body of the engine. The engine head usually is made of aluminium. So you look at that joinery around there. If there is leaks, okay, there would be leaks. That's an indication that you might change your price, lower your price, because you have to have a lot of work being done on it. So I'm looking at the things that you can just look at. Okay, now you've popped the hood. Look at the frame of the car. The frame will indicate a lot. Usually it will indicate to you accidents. Okay, around the bonnet, there is the frame of the car. Look at if there has been any repairs around the frame. Any repairs around the frame indicates there's been an accident. Even much worse when it's on the front side. The front is dented and has been hit back and panel beat back. No, not so many garages can really work on it well and bring it back so that you're not able to notice, unless the garages are super nice that they're able to just overhaul the entire frame of the front and replace it with another, which is rare. So you're able to see from the frame that maybe there is a history of an accident, and then that will also help you bring down your price or help you negotiate a price. Then you will start the engine, go back to the car. you know, go back behind and look out at the exhaust. Is there smoke, whichever, whether it's white smoke or black smoke, indications of smoke coming out and visibly coming out, you definitely know that these are pom-pom pointers for negotiating price, okay? Because you have work to do. Okay, you're done with that. Look at the general body of the car. You know, it's been dented on the sides. Usually dents in the front are the ones I'm most critical about. Dents in the front indicate sometimes they have shaken your positions of your gadgets in the bonnet. So dents of the front usually cause for more questions. On the sides, these are things that you can panel beat. On the top, on the back, you can panel beat. Lights, your lights, those are some of the things you can replace, okay? But conditions can show you that. Then you come into the interior of the car. Look out for the parts that when you close the door, this sealing well, when you raise the window, look out for the systems and the dashboard. Do they all function? And then for your own interior, is it beautiful enough, or is it well taken care of, or the carpets all over the place, things like that, okay? So that's the condition of the car. And then you go to test drive, and you're doing a test drive. What are you going to do? Look out for the acceleration. I mean, now you're checking the gear changes, okay? You enter into your car, you start the engine, you go and drive. Once you accelerate, you have to feel all the force, you know, all the four, you know, gear switches as you feel. Step on it heavily up to the bottom, and then you get a clear space and drive straight. Listen for 1, 2, 3, 4. You know, feel that all the sequences have changed well. That's good. It's an indication that your gearbox is switching well and they're sensing well on the speed vis-a-vis the RPMs, okay? Speed vis-a-vis the RPM, changes vis-a-vis the RPMs are working well, so the gearbox works fine. And then feel the engine sound. Does it sound good enough? You know, nice humming, nice round sound, like you know, these are some of the things. Look, remember, I'm a Malay man, but these are some of the things that will indicate for you a good engine. All right, feel the vibrations, especially if you go more than 100 kilometers per hour. When you have vibrations on your steering, the indications that the handling on the tire system is not really working well. Maybe needs alignment, maybe it just doesn't feel right. This car should be stable. This is Kampala. It's a hilly place, so it's an advantage for you to check on the power of the engine in order to be able to climb a hill. So look for a nearby hill. If you're in Makerere, go to Makerere. If you're in Chibuli, go to Chibuli. If you're in somewhere, Luboa or Entebbe Road, go climb Luboa Hill. I'm giving you hints of some of the hills that you can find around Kampala. Just look for a hill and climb the hill. Feel the car's ability to climb a hill. That can easily show you how powerful or good the engine can be. And vis-a-vis the switches of the transmission of the gearbox, then you're able to feel the condition of the car that you're driving, okay, to help you negotiate. Right, I hope it has been helpful to you, and if you like videos about cars, make your comments down there. I usually like talking about cars so much, so let's chat more, and I hope to catch you on another vlog. Cheers and bye. Don't forget to subscribe. Boom. I'm out.